Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about a little-known independent filmmaker by the name of Cornelius Archibald Crump. Good evening, listeners. My name is Sebastian Presley, and if, like me, you are a fan of horror movies, then you may already know who I'm talking about. But if not, let me begin with a mystery. You see, up until 3 months before the release of his first film in 1971, there is no record of a Cornelius Crump ever existing. But stranger still, just 8 years later, on the 11th of November 1979, Mr. Crump vanished without a trace, never to be heard of again. But for me, it's his legacy of celluloid that I'd like to celebrate tonight. All that we do know is that in the August of 1971, Crump attended a meeting with Dean Magnolia, owner of Magnolia Picture House, and left having secured an advance for a horror short he was to present for an upcoming Halloween event. And the title of this first of many collaborations between Crump and Magnolia Picture House, The Vampire, a short but beguiling retelling of a Bram Stoker classic with Crump in the title role. And in my opinion, it is a sublime slice of what was to come. By all accounts, the short film received mixed reviews. However, Cornelius, along with the Magnolia Picture House, embarked on a second outing together, and this time it was to be a full-length feature, working from an original Crump script, resulting in what I believe to be one of the finest films in this genre, Creature from the Grave. Once again, Crump was forced to multitask by not only taking the titular role, but also writing and directing. And with a budget of just $4,000, Crump had to be more than a little inventive with the special effects. But in my opinion, the end product is nothing short of a masterpiece that leaves this sentimental oak codger weeping like a child after every viewing. Over the next 6 years, Crump made a total of 7 films for Magnolia Picture House, whilst also shooting many hours of B-roll footage, which the studio offered to other independent filmmakers for use in their own projects. However, in the October of 1978, Crump began work on what would be his final movie, Victor. And it would be his most ambitious so far, and would see Crump pushed to his wits' end by constant interference from the head of studio, Dean Magnolia. It was to be a bold retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, where once again, in the lead role, Crump delivered a most harrowing performance, showing Victor spiraling into his own personal insanity. But the studio demanded changes, insisting Crump focus less on Frankenstein's mental health and deliver a more simplistic storyline, one that focused on more simple tones like good and evil. There are many that say Crump isolated himself during the making of the film, having to distance himself simply to avoid Magnolia's constant demand for script changes. And friends, though there weren't many, became concerned about his change of behavior, and it was reported in the Californian Gazette that the police were called to Crump's residence on numerous occasions, and on one such they found Crump at the rear of his lodgings, dressed as a woman and ranting like a lunatic. To me, these things and the rumors of excessive drug use only highlight a true artist's inner struggle to bring a personal vision to life whilst battling a picture house whose only concern is how much money they can make. However, in September of 1979, a final meeting was called by Dean Magnolia, during which Crump was informed that his contract was to be terminated, and that his passion project would be handed over to newly signed director Joel Wheaton to complete. This is where information gets a little sketchy, as it seems that after Crump left Magnolia's office, he visited the editing suite and logged out 3 reels of footage, mostly containing scenes of Frankenstein's monologues, before Crump eventually left the studio, never to be seen again. Over the years, many have investigated the mystery. Even I have attempted and failed in the task. For you see, there is no trace of his origin or his ending. Nothing. Personally, I like to think he's still out there. But whatever the case may be, his small body of work should be remembered for what it was and is, art. Now, to play us out, a song originally released by The Doors, but this time it's the version performed by Jack Gatsby and Larry Wainwright, otherwise known as Jack and Larry. Incidentally, this song was commissioned by Crump himself after seeing it performed live by the duo, and is part of the soundtrack to his 1975 movie, Death by Appointment. Thank you for listening. Here is Riders on the Storm.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. Take a long holiday and let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet memory will die. Killer on the road. Yeah, there's a killer on the road. Girl, you gotta love your man. Girl, you gotta love your man. Hey, take him by the hand and make him understand. The world on you depends, our life will never end. Gotta love your man. Yeah, you gotta love your man. Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm.